Ooh, Seth Curry is out. Okay, well, that definitely changes some things. Definitely changes some things up with Seth Curry being ruled out. Shake Milton season is upon us. We are going back to the well with all of these 76ers yet again. So I think they only have 10 available players right now. They're probably going to run all 10 of the guys. As long as the game is competitive, I mean, we're going to see, I know they want to scale back the minutes. We've already heard that from Doc Rivers, that they want to scale back the minutes. Specifically if Tyrese Maxey, who's played like 44, 45, and 40 minutes the last 3 games. But I'm still expecting him to play like 34 to 36 minutes, which is definitely in play for that. Hey, you guys like the new logo? If you guys want to rock the new logo, it's somewhere in the Discord. I can post it again if you guys want to rock it. What's going on, Kyle? That damn Drummond Price Picks fantasy score keeps moving. Where is it sitting at right now? Because it was at like 40 and a half. I mean, I still like the over on it. So, yeah, I mean, we get no Seth Curry now. So that opens up quite a bit of minutes right here. So you could definitely hit the overs on like Korkmaz. I like Korkmaz a good bit. 10 with Curry out. Yeah, so it's looking like a 10-minute rotation for the Sixers tonight. Illuminati confirmed. A. Okay. So, I mean, I was already kind of assuming that he was going to be out. Let me make a change real quick. Let me update the Patreon. Just add a quick note there with Seth Curry being out. Okay. Updates to the Patreon. All right, guys, we are gonna go a bit over game by game, and then I'm gonna drop some, some strategy because it is a 3-game slate. So to get different, there's a couple of things that you can do to get different, so you're not having the same lineup as everybody else, especially given how chalky this first game is going to end up being. I mean, for good reason. It is good chalk, but currently 6-point spread in favor of the Bucks. Philly is at home, so Vegas isn't indicating this game is going to blow out. Philly kept that game close last time. Actually, what was the score in that game, if I can find it? Yeah, so it was pretty close against the Knicks. I mean, Milwaukee hasn't been that great this year. I mean, obviously, they're missing pretty much all of their players for the entirety of the year. Drew Holiday's still probably going to play 30, 32 minutes. Not his full 34, 36 minutes, but Vegas indicates this game should be close. So, if you're playing a bunch of these Sixers guys, you should probably go ahead and bring it back with a few of these Milwaukee guys. But yeah, let's just go game by game real quick, kind of go over the news that has dropped since my last video, because there is a couple of things we are waiting on news on. But we will just get right into it. So we will start up top with the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Philadelphia 76ers at 217.5 over under. The Bucks are currently 6-point favorites. So yeah, up top with Giannis Antetokounmpo, one of the best spend up options on the slate. I think you either play him or Damian Lillard, or not Damian Lillard. I mean, you can't play Dame. I do like Dame, but him or Paul George, I think, are the two clear spend up options on the slate. Giannis, the best raw projected player on the slate. He is quite a bit more expensive than Paul George, but if you can get up to him, I love him today. And then Drew Holiday, his minutes continue to raise. I'm expecting him to play 30 to 32 minutes in this game. He has averaged 1.29 fantasy points per minute since the beginning of last year with no Chris Middleton on the court. Great matchup against the Philadelphia 76ers. The minutes should be there, in my opinion. And this Philly defense is just not the same without Tobias, Simmons, Joel Embiid. So if this game is competitive, Drew Holiday should get those minutes and should definitely be able to pay off this very, very inexpensive price tag. And then Bobby Portis, I'm assuming he grabs the start again. He's only $5,400. He exceeded 30 minutes last time out. About a 1.2 fantasy point per minute player without Chris Middleton on the court. I like him a ton as well. This game should run pretty fast. So I do like Bobby Portis a lot. He's one of my favorite plays on the slate. And then the last player on the Bucks side that I like is George Hill at $3,600. I think his minutes stick. He should continue to see 30, 32, 34 minutes in these games. And he's only $3,600. He's my favorite sub 4K value as of right now. We'll get into the Atlanta guys in a second, but as of right now, yeah, he's the best sub 4K value play. If Bogdanovic or DeAndre Hunter are ruled out, I would kind of change my mind and switch over to maybe a guy like Kevin Huerter. Unfortunately, we're probably not going to get that news until after lock and after George Hill ends up locking. But if you do want to be a bit risky, you could fade George Hill and wait for a guy like Kevin Huerter, and hopefully one of those guys sits, hopefully both of them. But then we'll move on to the Philadelphia 76ers side. Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, Matisse Thybulle, Isaiah Joe, Grant Riller, and now Seth Curry are all out. So they only had 11 active guys with Seth Curry. Now they're down to 10 active guys. We got word from Doc Rivers yesterday talking about how they're going to play 10 guys today. They don't know which 10 guys, but now they know that they literally only have 10 active guys. So we are probably going to see some extra burn from guys that we really haven't seen anything from yet. So guys like Aaron Henry, Jaden Springer, and Charles Bassey should get into the rotation today. He mentioned specifically how tired Tyrese Maxey is. He has played 45 minutes, 45, 44, and 39 minutes in each of the last 3 games. This is the second leg of a back-to-back. Now, while I do think that Doc Rivers wants to scale back the minutes, I don't think that they necessarily can in a competitive game. If they really start scaling back the minutes, they're probably going to end up getting blown out. So I think that they probably keep the minutes. I don't think they play 40 minutes like they did last game, but I think they probably still sit around that 34, 36 minute range. And while they do have a price increase, they're missing so many key guys that the usage is very condensed between guys like Drummond, Maxey, Shake Milton, and Furkan Korkmaz. So I love all 4 of those guys. I really was skeptical on their minutes before the Seth Curry news, but now that he is also out, I'm just going to go ahead and drop on or lock in Andre Drummond. I still think that he is too cheap. The only way he doesn't pay off this price tag is if the game gets out of hand and it blows out, or if he gets into foul trouble or an injury. But I would bet that those things probably do not happen. I love Tyrese Maxey now. I think Shake Milton actually gets the biggest boost with no Seth Curry. He'll likely be in the starting lineup tonight. And will play backup point guard as well. And if they do end up scaling back Tyrese Maxey's minutes, a lot of those minutes are going to go to Shake Milton, just so they have one of the facilitators that they actually trust on the court at all times. So I love Shake Milton and Korkmaz. I know it sounds like I love everybody in this first game, but there is just such good chalk here that I'm probably going to play 4, 5, 6 players from this game. The next game is much less enticing. Really getting a lot of my cash game cores from this first game. And then if you're playing from a pure tournament aspect, you could almost entirely fade this game, hope it blows out. With it being a 3-game slate, you have to get different somehow. And maybe if you fade this first game, and the game blows out, then you can get away with it. In cash games, I probably stack up on this game. Move over to the Atlanta Hawks versus the Utah Jazz at 223 over under. The Jazz are currently 8-point favorites. Onyeka Okongwu is out for the Atlanta Hawks. Okay, my mic is still working. So they are really healthy right now, but Bogdan Bogdanovic and DeAndre Hunter both were midday additions to the injury report. They are both questionable. So if these guys do end up missing, or at least one of them ends up missing, I think Kevin Huerter and Cam Reddish become very, very good value plays. Two of the best value plays on the slate, and I would actually consider them over George Hill. But unfortunately, this game starts an hour and a half after lock, so I don't think we're going to get news until after George Hill locks. So if you want to play this from a tournament aspect, we're kind of doing that over on FanDuel with Kevin Huerter because I still think he's a pretty solid play regardless. You're not going to draw dead because you play Huerter, but there is pretty immense upside if one or two of those guys end up missing. But as of right now, the team is completely healthy. They're at full strength, so I'm not really considering anybody on this team. I do think that Clint Capella has some upside. He played 36 minutes 3 games ago against this very Utah Jazz team and Rudy Gobert, kind of just matching the minutes of Rudy. And his minutes got cut back last time against a small ball Warriors team. Don't think that happens today. He has averaged 1.2 fantasy points per minute since the beginning of last year. So if he's going to play 36 minutes at $7,100, he's a very good, interesting pivot off of a popular Andre Drummond. Or if you're playing two centers, you could play Capella and Andre Drummond. On the Utah Jazz side, Rudy Gay is out. Elijah Hughes is questionable. Mike Conley ended up missing last game due to rest. He's going to be back here. I don't really like him at this price tag. Much better price tag over on FanDuel. Donovan Mitchell, I mean, his usage rating is up massively this year at 36.1% usage rating. Jordan Clarkson second on the team with a 28.8% usage rating. Should play 24, 26, 28 minutes at the very most off the bench at 5,200. You could definitely do a lot worse than him. But now that Seth Curry is out, I definitely prefer Shake Milton to Jordan Clarkson. Shake Milton probably my favorite player in that low 5K range. I think this game is going to be the lowest owned. But man, it is just not very enticing to me. I'm probably avoiding that game for the most part. And then this is my favorite tournament game on the slate, the Portland Trailblazers versus the Los Angeles Clippers at 220.5 over under. The Clippers are currently 3-point favorites. The Trailblazers have no injuries. Their starters missed a ton of minutes last game due to the blowout. But I think that they're priced pretty cheap. Lillard, priced appropriately given the stretch that he has been on to begin the year. But, the volume has been there, and it looked like he was about to take the top off this price tag last time out before the game ended up blowing out. Didn't even play in the fourth quarter. So he would have likely wound up with 55, 60 fantasy points. And I think he would have ended up being a lot more popular than he will be tonight. I mean, his price tag on FanDuel is abysmal right now, and you can still get him over here on Prize Picks at a much lower projection than so over 40.5. I still like that quite a bit for Damian Lillard. I mean, Clint Capella is also still sitting at 30.5 fantasy points. Then we'll move over to the Los Angeles Clippers. Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, Jason Preston are all out. Serge Ibaka returned last game. Only played 8 minutes. He had 5 fouls in those 8 minutes. So he probably would have played a bit more if it weren't for those 5 fouls. But the game was super competitive, and I just don't think that they're ready to really rush him out there for big minutes. They're taking it very, very slow with him. But it starts up top with Paul George at 10,500. I think you play him or Giannis today. Unless the Hawks guys are out, I don't think there's really enough value to play both of them given their prices. But Paul George so far this year at 33.4% usage rating, 12.2 total rebound percentage, 26.6 assist percentage while averaging 1.44 fantasy points per minute. Gets an amazing matchup against the Portland Trailblazers. A pace-up spot at home. Game should be competitive. I love Paul George tonight. I like him a lot more on Draftkings where there's a bigger difference between his price than Giannis. Over on FanDuel, they're pretty much the same price, and I slightly prefer Giannis over there. And then Reggie Jackson, more of the same. He's going to play mid to high 30s minutes. And tonight, he is $6,300. But now that Seth Curry is ruled out, I think I slightly prefer Tyrese Maxey to him for $100 less. And then Zubats, I mean, I mentioned in my video earlier, he played 34 and 31 minutes, but that was against Karl-Anthony Towns, so that made sense. And then I thought they would go back to playing small ball against the Charlotte Hornets, because you can definitely get away with that against them. And he still played 28 minutes with Hartenstein getting minutes off the bench. Usually Hartenstein's not really in the rotation unless they plan on playing big. So definitely think that they could continue to play big, especially against a Portland Trailblazers team who constantly have either Cody Zeller or Yusuf Nurkic out there on the court. He's more of a secondary play for me. And then I think Terrence Mann at $5,100. I mean, he's just going to continue to close these games out. He might be their second or third best player right now. And he's playing like low to mid 30s minutes every single game. He's only $5,100. I like Terrence Mann quite a bit. And then Eric Bledsoe, more of a tournament option at $4,300. But that's really all I'm considering over on the Clippers side. But yeah, again, really want to focus on this first game and this last game. I'm really avoiding the middle game for the most part. If you in tournaments, you kind of want to get away as much as you possibly can from the first game. But again, like, they're such good plays that even in tournaments, it's hard for me to imagine them busting. So it's really, really hard to get different today, while still giving yourself a chance to win. So more times than not, I'm probably going to get most of my guys from the first game and then stack the second or the third game as well, and leave the second game alone unless we get news that Bogdanovic and or DeAndre Hunter are ruled out. Then I'd be a lot heavier on guys like Kevin Huerter and Cam Reddish, and you will get those guys at significantly lower ownership. If you want to, you could just go ahead and play Huerter and Cam Reddish and just hope that one of those guys is ruled out, and stack the first game, and then you're really only those one or two plays is going to differentiate your lineups from everybody else's. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the slate. Really just waiting on that Hawks news. Before I made my video earlier today, we had no injury news. Seth Curry, Bogdanovic, and DeAndre Hunter all popped up midday. So whenever there is a midday injury, I'm more inclined to believe that those games are probably going to end up blowing out. Or those games are going to blow out. Those guys are going to end up not playing. So I lean that they end up sitting. And so you guys could have some pretty good low-owned value in guys like Kevin Huerter and Cam Reddish. Hopefully that news happens like right before locks, so we'll be able to make the pivots, and then it'll keep their ownership a bit lower. We going back to Paul Reed tonight. So yeah, without Seth Curry, I think Paul Reed could end up grabbing the start at the 4, and Shake Milton could continue to come off the bench, or Shake Milton enters the starting lineup. But regardless, I think that since there is only 10 guys today, and Doc Rivers has already mentioned that they want to play 10 guys instead of the 8-man rotation they've been playing, that Paul Reed is going to get some run at the 4 and at the backup 5, which is going to give him more minutes. I know Paul Reed barely played last game. I think he only played like single-digit minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes last game. I definitely think that he plays, nearly 20 minutes, and he is so good on a permanent basis that at $3,300 can definitely pay off this price tag right here. Good tournament option, but just know that the minutes are very, very volatile. But, there's 3 guys, 3 of the 10 available players really haven't played at all this year, with Jane Springer, Charles Bassey, and Aaron Henry. So Paul Reed is actually a pretty normal player in this rotation, given the status of the current roster, because he's probably going to play like the 6th most minutes on this team tonight, 7th most minutes. Kennard, solid value DK GPP play. Not really on Kennard. I prefer Eric Bledsoe in that price range. Royce O'Neal or Covington. Let's go with Royce there. Matchup wise, Lillard or Mitchell. Yeah, man. I probably prefer Lillard there. I know in our FanDuel lineup we have $200 to go up from Lillard to Mitchell. I slightly prefer Lillard, but man, the prices on FanDuel are just absolutely ridiculous. I prefer Lillard though. How much ownership is too much ownership on Giannis? That's smart to completely fade him. Yeah, I can't really fade Giannis today, to be honest. Completely. If you are fading Giannis, play Paul George, and I think that's completely fine. I think these are the two best clear spend up options on the entire slate. You could definitely get away with fading Giannis, but if you are fading Giannis, I would make sure to be lighter on that first game and then hope that game ends up blowing out. So everybody that played Giannis and people in that game are going to end up busting. And then your other pay up option, whether it be Paul George or Lillard or something like that, hopefully that game is competitive. And really with a 3-game slate, the best strategy is really just to stack 1 or 2 games in hopes the other game ends up blowing out, because you can get a lot of dead money there. Drummond, Korkmaz, Milton in my DK lineup already. Would you go to Maxey or Reggie Jackson? Maxey might be limiting my upside, I feel like, with 3 Philadelphia players already. So yeah, normally you would think that, but with there only being 10 men on that team and it being a 3-game slate, you could definitely play 4 guys, given the value that you're given from the Philadelphia 76ers side. So I would probably still, in cash games, I would play Maxey with those 3 guys. If you want pure upside, you're correct. Like, you would want to have Reggie Jackson just to maximize the possible upside you could get. Could you rank Mann, Ingles, and Grayson Allen all the same price? Mann first, then Allen, then Ingles, George or Giannis in cash. I like it's probably Giannis in cash because I'm playing so many of these Philadelphia 76ers tonight that I want to make sure that I'm bringing it back with Giannis and Antetokounmpo in hopes that this game is competitive. Milton or Korkmaz? Yeah, that's close. I want to see what the starting lineup is. Right now it's Korkmaz for me, but if Shake does enter the starting lineup, then I like him quite a bit. If Paul Reed enters the starting lineup instead of Shake, then I like Kork more, and I would love Paul Reed. Conley or Drew or both? Definitely Drew, George and Reed, or Mitchell and Powell. Yeah, it's all dependent on if Reed is starting, but I lean the George Reed side there. Sixers or Bucks tonight? Definitely the Bucks. DK, GPP, Hill, Mitchell, PG-13, Collins, Gobert, Bledsoe, Henry, Simmons. Thoughts? Thanks. Yeah, so while the Sixers are going to have some G League players in the games tonight with Aaron Henry and Jaden Springer and Charles Bassey potentially, that doesn't make them playable in my opinion, unless the game ends up blowing out. And let me look at your lineup. So, okay, I will say this with your lineup, since you are fading, you're fading Drummond and Giannis, so you're kind of playing that game to blow out. So I think Henry is fine in that aspect. Yeah, again, if you guys think that if you're fading the first game, you don't have to completely fade it. Maybe just fade the higher owned guys and play guys like Aaron Henry or Jane Springer, and hopefully they get some blowout run, and they'll be in the rotation in the first half as well. But yeah, I think that's fine for tournaments. On FanDuel, Green or Milton, Drummond, Maxey, Korkmaz in that order. Definitely prefer Milton to Green. And then I would rank him that way as well, Chad. Paul Reed actually is a really good value. I'm locking him in. Yeah, we'll see on the see if he starts. I want to see what happens with that. Dennis Schroeder or Anthony Davis. Man. Can you fade Drummond? You can fade Drummond for sure. It's not like he's 5K like he was, or in the 5Ks like he was yesterday. At 7.7K, I still think he's too cheap, though. Still think he's way too cheap. I will be playing him personally. You can get away with fading him. There's definitely more routes for him to fail at this price point than there were yesterday. FanDuel saying the same for Patreon? Absolutely, it is. McCollum and O'Neal for Maxey, or Maxey and Zubats. Let's do Maxey and Zubas. Are any Danny Green love? I think Danny Green is fine. You know, this is the second leg of a back-to-back. It was his first game back yesterday. He played 30 minutes. I could definitely see his minutes getting scaled back a little bit in favor of these other guys, just because of his injury history. Clippers or Portland tonight. I like the Clippers tonight. They're in my parlay. DK GPP single entry, Holiday, Man, or Bledsoe and McCollum. Let's go Holiday and Man there. Covington or O'Neal. O'Neal for me. Any love for Nance tonight? No, not really. Thoughts on McCollum? I mean, Larry Nance has been getting extended minutes because of blowouts recently, so not really chasing that. Thoughts on McCollum? Yeah, I think McCollum's too cheap on Draftkings. I'm not getting to too much of him tonight personally. But if you're fading Lillard, I mean, I think he's fine. I wouldn't play him and Lillard together. Kind of caps your upside. Favorite spin up for DK Cash? Probably Giannis. It would be in this order: Giannis, then Paul George, very closely behind, and then Damian Lillard. So if you don't have enough money to get up to Giannis, just play Paul George. I think both of them are pretty equal point per minute or point per dollar plays. Man or Korkmaz? Cash? Korkmaz for me. If Sixers game blows out, who's the guys who you would want in blowout run? So I think that we would see, you would definitely want Paul Reed. You would definitely want Paul Reed, and then probably Jaden Springer. But again, actually, you know, you would probably want Shake Milton. Shake Milton would probably end up closing, to be honest. So I think Shake is a really good play, because if they're scaling back Maxey's minutes at all, Shake is going to earn some of those minutes, and if the game ends up blowing out, I think Shake is in that closing lineup. What about Simmons for cheap? Yeah, man, I've been on Simmons kind of all year as like I haven't played him all that much, but he has been an interesting tournament play this whole time, because they have been so willing this year to play him next to CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard at the same time. If the Clippers resort to playing small ball lineup, they could definitely play Simmons a good bit again. He's been shooting well. I mean, last game he didn't, but before that he was shooting really well, and it was keeping his head above water. If you notice, he shot poorly here. He's put up a decent game for his price tag, but quite the anomaly with 5 boards and 4 dimes. You know, picking up 2 or 3 total assists and rebounds, probably the most likely outcome. Really going to need to hit his shots to pay off his price tag, but I think that's fine. I mean, you could play George Hill for $200 less, and he's not going to be as active, but he'll probably play 10, 12 more minutes. Thoughts on Mitchell? Yeah, I like Mitchell today, but I just prefer Lillard to him at a pretty similar price tag. Maxey over 22.5 points and assists, or Drummond over 29 points and rebounds. I'm not really on. I would probably prefer the Maxey one there. No one playing Nurkic? No. I mean, dude, the minutes are just wild. That, like, I watch them all the time, the Trailblazers, and they're just like so willing to just like play Cody Zeller extended minutes. It's disgusting. Jazz or Atlanta tonight? I like the Jazz. I like that parlay extort with the Jazz, Bucks, and Clippers. Man or Pal is tough for sure. Yeah, for sure. It's just like, it's the same game. I probably slightly prefer Man, but it's close. Holiday, Jackson, or Maxey. I would rank them as of right now: Drew Holiday, then Tyrese Maxey, then Reggie Jackson. Shake is the play for the first game. Yeah, I like Shake quite a bit. 6-minute sack on Philly game with PG as a late night hammer. Let's get it. Yeah, I like that. I think that the best plays are definitely in this first game. But I also think that Paul George is going to be criminally under-owned yet again, even on a 3-game slate. So, yeah, I'm going to keep going back to the well with him. Shake and Maxey and Korkmaz and Cash. Yeah, I think that's definitely fine. Sixers will start. Okay, so Shake Milton is in the starting lineup. Oh, so is Paul Reed. So Danny Green's coming off the bench. So yeah, I mean, Paul Reed probably an A tier play for me. Actually, I might have to change the FanDuel lineup. I wasn't expecting Milton and Reed to enter the starting lineup. Okay. Thoughts on Conley? I'm not really on Conley today. You like Niang if he doesn't start? Niang never starts. I think he's fine, but much better plays. Reed and Milton is starting, so that's definitely interesting. Let me make a Patreon update real quick. Yeah, I mean, I love Shake Milton now. Shake is like a S tier play for me now. Yeah, Niang is definitely good off the bench. Because he's always pretty good on the boards. But, man, that's really interesting that Danny Green's coming off the bench. Like, usually you want to bring guys off the bench that can facilitate or, like, run the offense. Danny Green is kind of like the opposite of that. Paul Reed cut into Drummond minutes. I don't think so. Yeah, no. Paul Reed is shooting guard on FanDuel. It's hilarious. So you like Reed now? Yeah, I do like Reed a lot more now. I like Reed a lot more because I know that he's going to get minutes at the 4, and he is also going to get backup center minutes behind Andre Drummond as well. So that's definitely like a very big boost to Paul Reed. Would you go Green or Bledsoe? Now I would probably go Bledsoe. Yeah, I think Danny Green's minutes definitely get scaled back tonight. Lillard or Drummond? If I have the money, I'm going to go with Lillard there. How come we're on Reggie and Mann? Just got online. Is there a clipper out? Because it looks like PG is good to go. Well, I mean, their minutes are just so secure, and they get probably the best matchup on the day. And again, it's only a 3-game slate, so that's why. Normally, I wouldn't even consider them, but it's a 3-game slate, so you kind of have to rank rank the players with context of the slate. Portis or Zubats, FanDuel center play, definitely Portis. Maxey, Reggie, or Lillard, Herter. Already have PG and Mann. Man, I wish we had news on the Hawks, guys. I would just play it safe and play Maxey, Reggie. Whole starting 576ers viable in cash? Yes. Yeah. They just are so thin right now, and these guys, if they want to be competitive in this game, are going to have to play them bigger minutes, so yeah. Milton or Mann? I like Milton more now. For you guys in the Patreon, I'm working on an update right now, so hang tight and we'll get this all worked out. Oh shit, and actually on Prize Picks, what is on Prize Picks with this? Is Milton on here? Yeah, I mean, these numbers are pretty fair, to be honest. Do you like George Hill? Yeah, I think George Hill is probably the best point per dollar play under 4K. You know, Paul Reed is up there though now. Is Drew off his minutes limit? I mean, he played 30 minutes last game. I'm assuming he's gonna play 30 to 32 minutes. Almost 1.3 fantasy points per minute since the beginning of last year with no Chris Middleton on the court. And this matchup is just pretty elite with the current status of the 76ers. Why can't I come off Royce tonight? Yeah, I mean, you're probably just looking at the box scores, man. Let's think bigger picture. Does Royce O'Neal usually play this well? No, not normally. Don't want to fall into that trap with him just playing a couple of good games in a row. Is Paul Reed a lock on FanDuel? No, I don't think he's a lock. I mean, I think he's a really good play, but I don't think he's a lock by any means. Trae Young or Lillard? I like Lillard more tonight. Yeah, 6 steals for 18 fantasy points is wild, man. Wild stuff. Bucks. Okay, Portis back in these starting lineups, and so is George Hill. George Hill is also starting again. Okay, so that confirms that with George Hill. I feel pretty confident that George Hill is going to play pretty big minutes. Okay, the update is coming right now for FanDuel right now. We'll get to some last second questions if you guys can stick around. If you guys found any information from this video useful, would really appreciate it if you guys could drop a like as well as subscribing. That is the #1 way of supporting me, completely free to do. I'm here every single day. And we have a pivot for the FanDuel lineup in case Bogdan Bogdanovic is in fact ruled out. But I do lean that Bogdan Bogdanovic is probably going to play just because he was dealing with this injury earlier and he's played through it. And I lean on the side that we will likely see DeAndre Hunter sit. But if Bogdanovic is ruled out, we will pivot to a guy like Cam Reddish if both of those guys end up being ruled out. Okay, the FanDuel lineup is updated. Can you fade Greek tonight and win? Yeah, I think so. I think you could fade Greek and play Paul George if you want. Grayson Allen or Man, definitely Man. Best play 7,900 left. Utility on DK. Let's take a look. 7,900. Definitely Andre Drummond. But if you're already playing Andre Drummond, then it's CJ McCollum at 7,200. Okay, almost done updating the sheet. We have some new additions to the core plays, so we're gonna get a lot of core plays tonight,
and you know what happiness
which is always good, no?
Happiness is the smell of a new car. It's freedom from fear. It's a billboard on the side of the road that screams with reassurance that whatever you're doing, it's okay. You are okay.
Okay, the new cheat sheet is going up right now. It's very condensed, so you should be playing almost exactly what I prefer today. You know, I always try to do that. Oh fuck! What did I uploaded the wrong Philly thing? Might be. Oops. Okay. I was wondering why somebody said that. Okay, the Draftkings sheet has been updated now. We got 17 minutes. We're chilling. Okay, let's upload the correct one. Thank you for catching that, though. It's tough being a one-man show, to be honest. Getting to all the questions plus updating the Patreon gets a bit difficult, but Patreon always gets the first look at everything. Okay. The correct one is now up. Okay. We will get to some questions, guys. Now that we are done doing all that. Okay. Yeah, I uploaded the wrong FanDuel lineup, so make sure to go check that. Check it. All right. Hiller Reed 3600 utility Reed is definitely the safer play. So if you're playing cash games, it's probably George Hill there. But I think the upside is pretty incredible for Paul Reed, because even if this game blows out, he will benefit immensely. I mean, he is so good on a permanent basis that I would like him quite a bit, regardless if that game blows out or not. Norman Powell or Korkmaz, FanDuel, definitely Korkmaz. Yeah, you know, guys, I'm considering, like, the whole Philadelphia starting lineup is like 5 of my favorite plays on the entire slate. So I'm definitely fine with playing 3-4 of those guys in your lineup. But make sure you're bringing it back with some of the Milwaukee guys, whether it's Giannis, Bobby Portis, Drew Holiday. I think you should be playing all those guys. You like Conley? Not on Conley tonight. Weird they don't let you do that. It's your money. You should be able to play who you want. Yeah, it is kind of crazy that they don't let you allow you to play 5 players from the same team. I don't know what it would matter. Kevin, thank you so much for the sub. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trying to hit 100 subscribers by the end of the year. Would really appreciate it if you guys could help me out with that. It's completely free to do. Just hit the button. Hit the like button while you're down there as well. Maxey or Jackson, not Milton. I like Maxey more now. How is Noah not in play if people think the game is going to blow out? I mean, if you think the game is going to blow out, he would probably be the biggest beneficiary on the Bucks side. You know, personally, I'm not planning on this game to blow out because Vegas indicates this game's going to be competitive. It's at home in Philadelphia. Only a 6-point spread. Drew or Conley? Drew for me. CJ Maxey and Herter, or Drew, Powell, and Mann. I'm going to go with the CJ Maxey Herter side, and hopefully DeAndre Hunter and or Bogdanovich sit. CJ and Danny, or Drew and Norm. Drew and Norm for me. I'm really avoiding Danny. Like, Danny has to play so many minutes to really just be viable in fantasy, and the fact that he's coming off the bench is kind of scary. What's going on, Vince? Help you with what? Powell or John Collins? FanDuel GPP. John Collins, Hill, Reddish, PG, Reed, Giannis, Lillard, Herter, O'Neal, GPP, DK. I mean, yeah, if Bogdanovich and or DeAndre Hunter are out, yeah, that lineup is amazing. But we just don't have that news just yet. But you are talking tournament, so if those guys are ruled out, which I think there is a decent likelihood that could happen, I mean, man, that lineup could be the nuts. Definitely risky, though, because you could be drawing dead if they don't sit. Milton, Hill, Reed, Powell, Mann, George, Covington, Giannis, Drummond, FanDuel, single entry thoughts. I like it. Portis, Gallo, Herter, or Covington, Mann, Herter. Portis and Gallo, or Covington and Mann. Portis and Gallo, Max. Weird Paul Reed, shooting guard eligible on FanDuel. Dude, it's wild. It literally makes no sense. Bogdan or Clarkson. I prefer Clarkson there. If I fade Drummond, CJ fits the best, yes or no? Yeah, I think that's definitely fine. I think CJ McCollum is too cheap. But again, if you're playing Damian Lillard, I would not play CJ. You like Mitchell? I mean, yeah, I think Mitchell's fine. I just prefer Lillard in that price range slightly. Korkmaz, Mann, or Allen. It's going to be Korkmaz for me. Simmons or Nurkic GPP plays. Yeah, so I think I like Anthony a lot more than Nurkic. Like, I don't know what's going on with Nurkic's minutes. I mean, they just seem very willing to play Cody Zeller, so kind of avoiding that. And it is pretty scary that the Clippers, you know, not as of the last 3 games, but before that, they are just so willing to play small that the Trailblazers could match that. And we could see Nance and Rocco at the 5. And so that's even less minutes for Nurkic. Drew, CJ, PG-13, Portis, Drummond, Milton, Reed, Covington. I love it. Not really on Covington, but I love the rest of that lineup. Help me and split the pot. Did you act like you did that on an accident? Entered a 10K head-to-head. Niang or Covington last piece. Gonna be Niang for me. Drew, Mann, or Simmons and Drummond. Let's go the Drummond side. Is Herter a good play for DK Cash? If one of those guys are out for the for the Hawks, then yes. But if not, then I prefer both George Hill and Paul Reed. And nobody's discussing Trae Young, and it's borderline ridiculous to me. Yeah, I mean, especially on a 3-game slate, a lot of these guys are just going overlooked. I mean, I'm not really considering him today, but, you know, I get the point of playing him. Cork or Man already got Drum, Maxey, and Milton. I'd still probably go with Corkman's there. Any tips for prize picks? Yeah, I was just going to go over that. I still like the over on Clint Capella, 30.5 fantasy points. He played 36 minutes just 3 games ago against the same Utah Jazz team to kind of match the minutes of Rudy Gobert. So if he's going to play that many minutes, he's been well over a fantasy point per minute across the course of his career. So I like the over on Clint Capella, still at 30.5. Drew Holiday was at 31.5. You can get him at 30.5 now. So I do like this as well. And then I like the over Shake Milton, 27 fantasy points. I think Shake Milton could definitely end up outscoring Tyrese Maxey today, and he's a lot cheaper. But if we're talking about prize picks, I mean, 27 fantasy points seems very, very doable for him. Would you play Gallinari? No, I'm not really on Gallo today. Collins a good play. I'm not on him really. Giannis over 11.5 rebounds a lock. I mean, betting overs is kind of risky with player props. If the games just end up blowing out, because there's so many things that could go wrong. But as long as this game's competitive, you know, I would imagine Giannis has a pretty good time on the boards. You got any 4 or 5 prize picks plays? I mean, we can kind of go over it real quick and kind of see the ones that I'm leaning over. Nothing really stands out to me hardcore right now, but we'll throw together a 5 pick just for the sake of the stream. If you guys want to tail, you know, if you do play 5 picks on prize picks, you know, if you get 3 of them correct, you get some of your money back. If you get 4 of them correct, you double your money. And then if you hit all 5, you 10x your money. So you're kind of hedging by playing 5. So don't have to hit all 5 of them to be profitable. But let's start up top with Drew Holiday over 30.5 fantasy points. We'll add Shake Milton. I think Shake Milton's actually a little low right here at 27. Maxey, I would almost consider Maxey too. Over 31 fantasy points, but we'll go with Clint Capella, Drew Holiday, Shake Milton, because there's some other ones that I feel really strongly about. I do like the Paul George and the so Paul George is at 47.5 now. I like the over Damian Lillard 40.5 right here, and actually we'll throw on Paul George as well, because I think this game is going to be the most competitive, highest scoring game of the night. And it's going to be on the backs of guys like Paul George and Damian Lillard. So for the sake of this stream, we'll throw together a 5 pick right now of Clint Capella over 30.5 fantasy points, Drew Holiday over 30.5 fantasy points, Shake Milton over 27 fantasy points, Damian Lillard over 40.5 fantasy points, and Paul George over 47.5 fantasy points. What just ended up changing? Shake Milton's up to 28 fantasy points, so 28.5. Yeah, you know, as I talk, the things go up. Oh, you know what we'll do? We'll add Kevin Huerter here, because this is my favorite thing to do. I like just going ahead and betting the overs on players that have teammates that are questionable, because if those guys do end up getting ruled out, we get significant value in these guys. So I think Kevin Huerter could definitely, so his fantasy projection right here at 14 fantasy points is assuming that DeAndre Hunter and Bogdan Bogdanovic are going to play. But if either of those guys are ruled out, or even both of them, this number is going to rise pretty much immediately. But I've already beat it because I'm taking a chance. And even if they do end up playing, this is a projection as if they are in. So you're not drawing dead just because of that. So I'm going to throw Kevin Huerter over 14 fantasy points here. And hopefully one of those guys sit. And like I said, even if they play, you're not drawing dead. Throw $20 on that. Man, Shake Milton moved from 27 to 28.5 pretty much immediately, as I said that. Hill or Reed, DK Cash. For Cash, it's definitely George Hill. I like Paul Reed a ton, though. I think you could definitely play both. If you, I mean, yeah, you could play Giannis and Paul George today, but you probably have to fade Drummond. Herter is at 14 fantasy points on PrizePicks. Yeah, I just went over that. What's the Sixers starting lineup? The Sixers are starting Maxey, Milton, Korkmaz, Paul Reed, and Andre Drummond. Cork or Powell, I like Cork more. Mitchell or Conley, definitely Mitchell. Maxey or Conley to round out my DK Cash lineup. I already have 4 from Philly. Man, if you already have 4, I'd probably go with Conley there. Robert Covington, if in a pinch. Yeah, I don't mind him. Pretty middling play for me. And if you guys do want to tail me over here on PrizePicks, use code Taylor, TAYLOR, for a 100% match bonus up to $100. And actually, guys, I forgot to mention this. I was going to do this at the beginning of the stream. If you guys like playing college basketball, they are running a promo right now. So risk-free $10 bet on anything college basketball today. So you could do a 5-pick, turn $10 into $100. And if you lose, they'll refund you that $10 in promo funds. So, I mean, it's pretty. If you guys haven't checked that out, even if you guys aren't a first-time depositor or anything like that, you guys can go ahead and get some action in on college basketball. And like, I don't know anything about college basketball, but if they're gonna give me $10 free to play with on college basketball, and they're gonna refund me if I lose, might as well give it a try. Got some buddies that went to KU, so I'll probably tail their plays. Maxey or Holiday, DK GPP. Yeah, that's tough. I probably prefer Maxey there now. Man, Giannis or Holiday PG-13. Let's do Holiday and PG-13 there. DK Cash, Maxey, Milton, Korkmaz, Portis, Drummond, Holiday, George, Reed. I like it. Simmons or Hill. Hill for me. PG and Maxey or Giannis and Cork. Wow, that's close. Probably the Giannis side, though. Mitchell or Milton. Mitchell there. Collins or Ingles, definitely Collins. How much time? We got less than 2 minutes left until lock, guys. We got about 200 people in here. If you guys could run up the likes, let's try to get over 100 likes. We'd really, really appreciate that, guys. Ty, and man, I don't even know how to say that. Ty. Oh, okay. Oh, but they're both from Kentucky. I gotta get some other pieces to this. I will literally play whatever you tell me to. I mean, they're running $10 free promo, so I might as well do something with it. I'm too focused on NBA. Paul George or Giannis. I think Paul George is the better point per dollar play. If you have the money to go up from Paul George to Giannis, I would do that, but I don't think you have to do that. I have no Giannis in my fish. I don't think you're necessarily a fish. I mean, as long as you have Paul George, I think you're fine. Milton, Reddish, George, Portis, Drummond, Conley, Reed, McCollum. I like that a lot. Not really on Conley, but I like the rest of it. Milton, Conley, Simmons, Mann, Korkmaz, Allen, Portis, Reed, and Giannis. Any thoughts on the Australian site, by the way? Yeah, man, I like everything outside of Conley there. I mean, and I don't hate Conley. It's just like not a guy that I'm targeting tonight, but I like the rest of the lineup a lot. Like, I'm on all those guys. Not really on Simmons that much, but 10 seconds to lock, guys. Hey, I appreciate that, Jeff. Appreciate you coming back each and every day, showing some support. I gotta stay live for like 20 more seconds. Gotta make sure this gets over an hour of playtime. Dude, I saw this earlier. Did you know JJ Redick only has 1 dunk in his entire career? 1. And I don't know whether I should be surprised he doesn't have more, or if I should be more surprised that he even got a dunk. Conley's only 5.5K. Oh, that makes a lot of sense then. Thoughts on Luke Kennard? Yeah, I'm not really on Luke Kennard, if that's what you're talking about. Especially with the Clippers looking like they are more likely to run big than normal. So that's less minutes to go around for guys like Luke Kennard. Yeah, only one dunk. And it was just like the most like basic dunk of all time. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys being here. Only 3 games today, but tomorrow, I haven't even looked, but I'm sure we're going to have like 12 games or something, which is just going to be a lot of research. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. Yeah, we got 13 games tomorrow. Oh, my. I might as well start looking at that now. Okay, guys. I appreciate you guys being here. Best of luck tonight. See you guys all up at the top. If you guys want to rock my new logo, you guys can join my Discord. It's linked down below. I'll post it in there if you guys want to change your profile picture to that, you know, just so we can grow our community a little bit more. But appreciate you guys being here. Best of luck tonight. See you guys at the top, and until next time.